All right. Let's go and get started. Thursday, September 4th, 2025 Town Council Work Session. We have a couple great items on here tonight. As always, one call to order and Pledge of Allegiance. So let's please stand. The flag's here. And I'd like Mr. Councilmember Green from Chesapeake Beach to lead us in a pledge.
Am I coming up there to do it or doing it from back here? Good, okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Great job. I gotta mess with them guys.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go into the public comment guidelines for our meetings. The town of North Beach welcomes public comment. Please state your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any public comments at this time? And if we have any online, we will share them with you. All right, we're going to move right into the first item of business items, a presentation from Think Big in the front row here. Network fiber optic installation proposal in board docs. Also, please, everybody in the audience, board docs, you can enter just like we can. You'll see the out-facing portal of it where you can see everything, documentation, notes, and everything about the presentation and everything tonight. So Linda, would you like to?
Absolutely. Good evening, Council. The mayor pretty much covered everything, but Mark Wagner and his team are here tonight to talk about Think Big and their proposal to put fiber infrastructure into the town of North Beach. It is not a cable agreement. We have a franchise agreement with Comcast. This is specifically fiber, so we would not need a franchise agreement with this group, nor does it impact the franchise agreement we have with Comcast. This is simply to provide an alternative to fiber options for the town residents. And I'm sure he'll cover it, but they also just recently approved a project within the municipality of Chesapeake Beach. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark.
Hey, good evening. Thank you so much for having us this evening. I'm Mark Wagner. I'm a vice president at IQ Fiber. So I just want to, when we started this discussion, Linda and I, our company was called Think Big Networks. We were doing business as Think Big Networks. That was a company that my partner and I started in 2016. We sold to IQ Fiber in January. We are now a company of approximately 250 employees and 25 million in revenue and a lot of good things. So we actually will be launching, assuming we pull this off in with the town of North Beach, we will launch as IQ Fiber, because from January to now and officially next month, we're beginning a rebrand. So I just want to, so everything that you see will be under IQ Fiber. It's the same team that you've been talking to. Nothing else has changed except for the branding and that bigger relationship. So with that, we're IQ Fiber. We are a fiber to the premise internet company. Everything we do is fiber optic cable. Our entire infrastructure, from our upstream providers to the businesses and the residents, is 100% fiber optics. And I control this, yeah, right here. Let's see. There we go. So we are proposing to bring this resource to the residents and the businesses of North Beach. As is mentioned, we do have an agreement with Chesapeake Beach. Alyssa, are you the same attorney for? No. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Anyway, I understand that you perhaps share an attorney resources. So I think you would be familiar with the agreement that we're proposing here is the one that we just signed in Chesapeake Beach. Again, we're fiber optic cable. We're not DSL. We are not cable. Cable, as everybody understands, you have it. That's a ginormous antenna. It was made to bring stuff into your home. Does a very good job of doing that. There will be customers that are happy with that service. Ours is not that. We do not provide traditional cable services. We don't bring the TV packages and all of that. We are internet, and we are brought by fiber, which means, unlike cable, we are symmetric, same speeds up and down. We are much, much faster. The network that we would propose to bring to North Beach would, right off the start, would have capacity of 10 gigabits. We have a 100 gigabit backbone, and if we grow over the, the next generations and we need more, it's simply a matter of equipment on each end. The fiber capacity is limitless. So it's a future-proof technology for internet. Faster, yes. More reliable, absolutely. We have no, unlike your cable plant, the only electrical components in our network are at your house, where you'll have an ONT, an optical network terminal, which you plug in at our head end or cabinet, which is on battery backup and generator. Officially over in North Beach, I think we'll cover this as well. So those are the two spots that have electricity. Everything in between is passive. So as long as we're up and you've plugged your ONT perhaps into a battery backup, your internet's up. So it's sustainable. Obviously, this will be a brand new system. So in terms of maintenance, the percentage of maintenance calls that we have compared to cable is we have virtually none. I put this slide in here because from our perspective, when we look for new markets, we look for markets that look like this. The left slide shows, and this is FCC and Ookla. I think people are familiar with Ookla. That's an upload. That's the #1 speed test that we use in America. So this is a combination of Ookla data and FCC data. FCC shows the blue is cable. That's Comcast. Calvert County is very unusual in that it has basically only Comcast. There's a couple of small spots that do not, but to the north and to the south and all around you, there's alternative. There isn't here. So we look for that. Because that is what we do. We provide an alternative. And then on the right, it's a high level view of Calvert County showing uploads. Again, remember Comcast and cable does very well with downloads, but are much more limited in uploads. Uploads are your Zoom conversations like we're having with your citizens tonight. Your home office, effectively the future of the internet really requires symmetrical speeds. So we look to solve this problem. Specifically in North Beach, this is just more of the same type of data that you can drill in, and you'll see that we're very limited here in upload speed. So this is effectively what a cable plant looks like, and in particular, an older cable plant. And the cable plant in North Beach, Chesapeake Beach, this area is dated and is going to be reaching its capacity limits unless Comcast were to come and do something like we're proposing, which is to spend millions of dollars and rebuild their plant. North Beach construction, I'll turn this over to Dave Inslee, but I do want to point out that I put an image in here. This is not our complete plan. This is the beginning. Our complete plan would show that we have built capacity to each and every street in North Beach. It is our intention to build everywhere where there is a street and a residence in North Beach, both the part that's in the county, where the roads are in the county, and the part downtown that is controlled by where you guys control the right of way. Dave, do you want to talk about construction?
Sure. Yes, we would do a standard construction process. We would, begin with applying for and acquiring all needed permits for whoever controls the roads and streets that we're working on. It'd be a combination. There's some state highway roads, and then there's the town-controlled roads, as well as some private roads that we would be looking to work on. Where we couldn't get our preference to be 100% underground. It's much more protected. We control the infrastructure. Where we can't do that, we would look to use the pole line infrastructure. Less attractive, takes a lot longer to construct on those that infrastructure. Once we get the permissions to do that, we would follow all missed utility guidelines, enter in our tickets. Once everything is marked, we test pit, locate all the existing utilities, protect those so that we don't damage and impact customers as we're constructing along the streets. Our construction, we primarily do directional boring. Once again, limits the impact on the streets and the customers. Once we do that, we build the infrastructure. It'll be essentially flush mount handhole locations for customer termination points. Once everything's installed, tested, ready to go, then customers would order service on an individual basis at that point. Yeah, here's a couple of like quick slides. You can see a directional boring machine, like maybe some people have seen in the past. That's what we generally utilize for boring our conduits underground. That'd be one of our communication hubs right there, a cabinet on the side. The feed for this location would come out of Chesapeake Beach though, so you really wouldn't have that here per se. You might have like a smaller passive cabinet as Mark was describing. It has no electronics to it. It's just fiber optic in there. A little bit smaller than what you see in that slide right there. And then you got your service offerings, if you want to speak to those, like what we're.
Any questions so far? Okay, so our service offering are, again, that's a picture of the ONT. The device that you see, it's black on black, sorry. But that's our Wi-Fi 7, tower. So there's a separate, it's a two-piece operation. You plug in the ONT, you can, and then you attach the Wi-Fi by Ethernet. And then we provide whole home Wi-Fi, and that's all included in the price. And that means that we walk around your house with a device to make sure that you're getting your capacity everywhere behind walls. And if you're not, then we will pop an extender, because we understand that 99% of our customers are going to experience our Wi-Fi, our internet wirelessly, and it's a lot of horsepower. So that's why we have Wi-Fi 7, and that's why we keep control of this equipment, because we can swap it and we can do the firmware upgrades and all of that way easier than our consumers can, so that we just make sure that Wi-Fi experience continues to grow. And we always have the best in class. These are our packages. $65 is our cheapest package, 125 is our most expensive, but our 125 is 5 gigs. That used to power, cities, buildings. So that's a tremendous amount of internet. We do have it. You'll have the capacity, and there are some uses for it, some heavy gamers and folks. So we do sell those. The majority of the packages that we sell are the $85 gig packages and the $75 500 megabit packages. We have no contracts. So it's subscription based. We have to earn your business every month. If we don't, then you have a competitor, Comcast. So we keep it very simple that way. No contract, no other costs. That's it. There's no taxes. There's no other fees, no rental fees. We have no data limits, no data caps. We don't track what you're doing. We're respectful of your privacy. Those are our tiers. So what we're doing for business, also priced extremely competitively, that 1 gig for $150, 5 gigs for $250. We have some very, very large businesses and enterprise customers on our network, and we can do custom arrangements with that. For instance, we have all of Kent County, Maryland's government offices and schools and such on our network. And we have the capacity to do other types of business arrangements, but this is, 90% of business owners here in North Beach and otherwise will, I think, find this very attractive and will definitely meet their needs. I want to talk a little bit about IQ Fiber, that I would like for you in the town to understand that IQ Fiber was when my partner Deanna and I were looking for what our next move with our company, Think Big. We were funding projects as we go, and we had a really active, awesome board member on our board. His name was Ted Shrimp. He was is the CEO of IQ Fiber. They had a relationship with a company called SDC Capital, which was one of the largest digital infrastructure funds in the country. They only do fiber networks and they only do data centers. 100% of their funding is charitable organizations, educational institutions, and pension funds. So they are not a traditional private equity fund. They are very, very interested in what we do. They were interested in funding us as Think Big, but we had a conversation with them and they said, honestly, we already fund IQ Fiber. We love that platform. We'd love for you guys to talk. So we did, and we ended up doing a sale, actually structured as a merger. So we just moved our equity up, and we're now owners in IQ Fiber. SDC Capital has baked into their relationship with us that all of our employees are owners for real. They all have equity in the company. They have instilled in us that part of our bonus structure is how we treat our customers and how they, and then we have to prove that through, in our industries, it's NPS ratings. That's where you ask your customers, you know, would you recommend us? It's just 3-question survey that we all use, and ours are in the 80%. I think Comcast has been negative at various times. And so we have some of the highest in the industry. IQ Fiber has a 4.8 to a 5-star rating on Google reviews, over thousands of ratings. I believe the highest that I know of in the industry. We run our own call center. So every call was answered within 14 seconds. These are our employees. They reside in a data center in Florida. So we don't outsource any of that. We have built a company that is customer focused first and foremost, because every customer we get, we have to earn, right? Because everywhere we go, all of our customers already have internet through Comcast or another cable provider. So we have to earn that. We have to earn that. And so we do that through customer service. We do that through building partnerships with towns like North Beach. We will be very intentional if we go forward in helping, working together to make sure that people understand what we're doing. We will have as many customer events where we speak to the public. Typically, we like to do one before we do anything and talk about construction. For instance, the September 18th, we're having a meeting in Chesapeake Beach where we're doing just that. We have reached out to the residents of what we call phase 1 to invite them to come in, and we feed them food and beer and wine, and just have an event where they can meet us. We can go through in detail what we're doing and make sure that everybody's on the same page. We will, if it's important to North Beach, sponsorships, events. I looked through some coming up that looked really interesting to me. I believe you have a Christmas parade. I know you have bonfires, you do whatever. You know, we want to sponsor it and be a part of and be in this community because we're going to be here not just while we're building, but really kind of forever, right? After that. So, but in particular, while we're building, because construction is messy, and we have found that we really need to make friends while we're doing this and be extremely gentle and work at the pace that makes sense to the town, because these are everybody. We really want to have customers, so we can't have enemies, right? So we want to communicate as much as possible and be as intentional and careful with this process and do things that make sense for the town of North Beach. I just want to kick it out. I failed to mention, so Dave Inslee, you already heard from, is our Director of Operations. So he will be key to the construction experience. He'll be working with your Department of Public Works and doing the permits and being a key voice to make sure that that pacing and all of that is working to stay with what feels right with locates and others. Tim Maxey is here. Tim is, he will be our local guy on the streets. He will be in charge of getting the right-of-way agreements that we have to get, for instance, from multi-tenant units and or homeowners associations, and hopefully, you know, you can kick us to the right people but that's Tim. He'll be key in these at the community events, and he will be the one that you see most in North Beach, and will be probably one of the first person that gets contacted if there's an issue of any kind that needs fixed or whatever. So that's good. All right, so I think I'm at the end of my presentation, and we're here to answer questions. I know Linda hit us with a bunch before we even got here. So if I can't answer them, I'll get somebody that can, but I'll just kick it over. If there's any questions whatsoever, can answer them here, or we can hit me with email, whatever's most helpful.
We have your folder.
Okay,
And I know we're going to have some questions after this. And what I'll do is have council get all the questions over to Linda. And then
Okay.
we can definitely reach out and then put it out to the public. No, you know, we've had these conversations before with other companies a while ago. You know, I think if somebody can have options, you know, if our residents can have 2 options, it's going to make the competition a little bit better, but more importantly, it's going to give them options.
yes,
You know,
Yes,
we
sir.
work from home. My wife and I do. So, you know, we're used to Comcast.
Right.
So having maybe another option to do a little bit better, get a better price, whatever that definition is, meaning is, I mean, I'm open to it. Just got to learn more about the impact I know it's the boring, you saw that underground, so we won't have to worry about anything above ground. We're not gonna have boxes on telephone poles and all that stuff. We just gotta know more to make sure that it's the best fit. So, does any of the council members have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Only one, and that's actually in SHA right away, right?
Yes, it's a state highway.
It's on Chesapeake Avenue. What's that the name of the
Chesapeake
road?
Beach Road.
Yeah, Chesapeake Beach Road in the SHAV. So yeah, not necessarily in the town, but we got one of those that'll get 5,000-ish, right? Yeah, and then we can add to that. But so it is what it is, right? That is something. But in terms of in the right of way, people aren't going to see pedestals. We don't do that. It's all flush mounted, as Dave pointed out, and it's tier rated so that you can drive over it, mow over it, whatever. These are bolted down. So I think that's a kinder way to treat the right of way. Yeah. And we, if we break something, something gets replaced, that's an opportunity for us to prove to the community how responsive we are, and oftentimes get a nice buzz in social media. So we look for those opportunities to impress.
So, if council doesn't have any questions, oh, you do? I apologize, go ahead.
Our right of way access control ends at Greenwood Ave. So on that map.
Yeah.
Cut that in half, more or less is where it can stop, and then it goes to count.
Correct.
So I'm going to take all the way out. Once you cross Greenwood, you have to give county for their. right of
Yeah.
way access.
Yeah, good point. So Councilman, we have, so we were already building Calvert County. We've started in Chesapeake Beach and we're well on our way there. Chesapeake Ranch and, Drum Point. So we pull a lot of permits with the county right now. So we're in a really good place with them. So we've worked that out. Yeah. So we're dialed in for the county part.
We don't have any further, what we'll do is we'll take the next 168 hours, have conversations. And then we'll get the questions to Linda and get it to you three.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the opportunity. I mean, this is a gorgeous town. I go to a lot of these and I've never been to a town council hall where they had water view. And, yeah, so we can't wait to get started. We can't wait to add some pictures from this beautiful town to our marketing. So yeah, please, if there's anything we can do.
Appreciate you. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you.
All right, let's move into, yeah, please do. Good job, Dee. That's Department of Public Works at their best right there, buddy.
The attorney, that's what.
Public Works.
Yeah.
All right, let's move right into Callis. We're going to talk about the CIP project in Callis Park. I do want to say a couple of things as you have a lot of information, you have some photos. And then Linda is also going to join in with DB. You do have, the information on a handout. This is a long time coming. And as you know, our farmers market on Saturday morning does extremely well with a large amount of individuals coming to it. We also, even this weekend, if you would have drove by there, you would have saw, I don't know, it appeared to be a couple hundred kids playing in the park. It was massive. And between the park, between the farmers market, the events that we do, well, right, but they have their own bathroom. The Boys and Girls Club have their own bathroom. Now, let me tell you, some questions that, why don't we use Boys and Girls Clubs? Because Boys and Girls Club have rules and regulations about letting people into the building while they have kids there. Obtaining a key, taking care of it. No, it's just, this makes more sense to me, but again, that's why we're bringing it to council tonight. You'll see a pretty good drawing of the photo or of the bathroom. It'll be 2 stalls, individual stalls. That means you can't get through the wall or anything, 2 individual ones. It's going to have, we'll have a water bottle filling station because we want to continue to eliminate plastic. We already have one of those water bottle filling stations at Overlook Park. Baby changing station. It will be maintained just like the other 6 bathrooms from the waterfront staff. So we'll have a welcome center. We'll have Overlook Park 2, Welcome Center 2, and now this 2 bathrooms maintained by the waterfront staff. We have all the securities, all the bells and whistles to make sure that's protected and taken care of. And the way it's situated on the map, it's going to be pushed back into the pump station. So what you're going to see is the front of it. So we're not taking up green space. We're pushing it back. It's a perfect location for power, water, and sewer. So I just want to say that, and I want to turn it over to DB. He can get up, and or Linda, whomever, to add on to it from the handout so we can start a discussion, because our goal is discuss tonight. Hopefully our one of our council members, and please keep him in our prayers, could take a look at the video. But I do believe this is one of those easy decisions. But go ahead, Donnie.
Yep. Good evening, Council and Mayor. As the mayor stated, he laid out the purpose of the memo, and we're hoping to get council support and approval to move this forward for the construction. The mayor, he went over a lot of the highlights for the discussion part of it. Like I say, I've been there myself. And, Public Works are working there. You see small kids, and with Chesapeake Avenue as busy as it's getting, it just makes common sense to me. It's like a perfect fit. And as the mayor said, this is probably the heaviest used area beside the beach in the summertime. So we had a lot of resident requests, got a lot of small kids, a lot of and they'd have to walk across Chesapeake and go all the way to the Welcome Center is the nearest bathroom. So it makes a lot of sense to me. What we did for the council and staff, we went out and we looked at 2 options. Calvert County has did a prefab building. So we went and they do have a way where we could piggyback, but when we checked into that, we found a prefab building. That's one that you'll see. Do you have the drawing of that we can put on the? Okay. You'll see a drawing in a minute, but we looked into that building. It's prefab. It's an 8-month lead time to get that building. Couple of things, it's positive because it's all one piece. They bring it and set it in place, but that building is actually a concrete structure. We've had trouble with our pump stations that are all concrete with them sweating. So we wanted to give you all a couple options. So it is an option. It's prefab, and the cost on the prefab building runs around $150,000. That would cover the building, all the groundwork needed to set the building on, plumbing and everything else. But then we also did an option as the town, as we have on many times in the past, acts as a general contractor, and we got a drawing. It's the same size, same basic layout as the prefab, but it would be stick built, and we would act as general contractor. We would hire the subs. And I feel like we could save a lot of money that route. We estimated the cost of that being around 120,000. And that's a high end cost. That was just a budget cost. So I'm thinking we could save $30,000 just by prefabbing it. We could do a better building. We could design it to fit more in the space instead of having a concrete structure there. So the picture that's that's coming up that you might have in your package is of a prefab. Yeah. That's a basic layout, but it would just be if we do the stick fab, and like I say, we act as a general contractor, we're planning on making the hardy board side and match the Boys and Girls Club. So it'll look, front of it will look just like the Boys and Girls Club building. So, staff recommends definitely building this restroom. I think it'll be a great addition. I think it's a much needed addition to that area, especially like the mayor stated for the farmer's market, for all the kids that visit that playground. That's visited every day. Younger kids go when even school's in. So that's a place that's always busy. And then senior citizens there at the senior center would always be close for them too. So I feel it's definitely a very positive project. So staff has recommended that the council move this forward for a vote to be able to do it in 26, not tonight, but move it forward to next week.
What is the time frame of once council makes the decision, if they decide to move forward with the project?
We do.
What is the time frame to break the dirt to turn on the water?
Yeah, I just received a stamp set of plans Friday. I engineered a stamp set of plans, so we need to take them to the county, get the building permit. And after that, we could possibly, buildings have slowed down a little bit to seem like the trades have slowed, building construction slowed down. So I think we could get somebody in there pretty quickly if we do it ourselves and act as a general contractor. I think within 3 months, we could probably, rough guess in 3 months, have it built. So once we get the building permit. Like I say, the other prefab is an 8-month lead time once you pay for it and place the order. So that's another benefit, I think, to be acting as a general contractor.
Council, what questions do y'all have? Also, tonight is a discussion. We would bring it back next Thursday. what questions you have. If you can't think of many tonight, please get them to Linda and we'll get them answered.
Yes, that's really quick. Sidewalk. Between pump fence and playground. Next to it, and probably another down ramp to it.
Yeah, I know you're familiar with it and what it'll be. You remember where the backstop is. If you're at the Boys and Girls Club looking east towards the bay, it's going to be sticking there right by the playground in the big area. Not a way it won't affect the pump station, but it won't affect the grass area either. It'll remain the same. So we'll plan on, like you said, having maybe a mulch walkway or some type of walkway soft enough for the kids. So if they do fall on it, and that'll go back over to the main sidewalk. Yes. Yeah. Right. That's a good point.
And it will be ADA, obviously.
Yeah, what's it like? Yeah, the pictures we have, it looks ADA, it's like cool, so we should,
Absolutely.
and I know we would. It was just.
A good point though. No, it takes a village, so please.
You know, I like it there, because I was trying to figure out how we would attach it to Boys and Girls Club and how we would gain access, and I didn't even think about putting it on that side. Especially if we have the space in the pump area.
Yeah, it's a good location for utilities because we already have water access right there with 10 feet away from it and the sewer pump station's right there. So run right to the pump station. So we're within 15 feet of the main sewer station. So that's why, right.
Inside will be designed that we can even squirt it down with a hose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much waterproof. So we can go in there, we'll have 2 hose bibs, the way it's designed, and we can go in there and cleaning wise, sanitation, we can go in there and hose everything out. It'll be made to be able to get wet. And, so quick for maintenance. Right.
Like cameras.
So as you know, y'all, we signed a camera company up. So they're in the process now. They've already started at the pier, meeting with Kevin and Phil. So this will just be included into that whole package we already have, plus the lighting. Between those two, also, we're looking at taking that vinyl fence that's facing the Boys and Girls Club and making it wood. And here's what we're finding. Not all kids are vandalizing it. It's balls and baseballs and stuff. You know.
They'll be locked at night.
Oh, yeah.
Safety.
They will meet the same open and close as all the other areas. Absolutely.
The mayor had a lengthy conversation with me and we've even looking into, they have new drywall now that's almost vandal proof. They call it, more like concrete almost, but it's still drywall. But even, we'd probably expect that type of material for the inside. So bumping into the walls in there will protect from that kind of thing. Yeah. Yep. And like I say, with the new camera system coming in there, that, be one focus right there. So.
If it's an accidental playground thing where kids have their kids, we're cool. We just want to stop the vandalism. It will be.
Because,
We're tired of fixing the fence.
Right.
Library.
Yes.
The walking
Yeah.
center.
Yeah, of course.
It's again.
Right.
Absolutely.
And just for looks, it's basically 14 by 18. It'll have 2 stalls, 2 separate bathrooms and a wall with a 3-foot area in the middle for all utilities, cleaning supplies, and have a door there so you can have access to all your plumbing needs in the middle. So it'll be 2 separate with, like the mayor said, changing tables and a drinking fountain on the front there. So.
And again, if you think of more questions when you go home or tomorrow or the weekend, reach out to Linda and we'll make sure we get you all the answers. But I really do believe it's time. We did look into porta pots. We did look into those fancy, you see at weddings, those trailers looking thing. And then within a year, we would end up paying more than also, they would drop it off on a Friday and it would be picked up on Monday. I mean, it's just, this makes the sense for our residents. All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on. All right. Thank you, DB.
Yep.
All right. So we do have a change a little bit that Linda's going to mention. Make sure the public knows what we're doing tonight. I'll turn it over to Linda.
Thank you, Mayor. So we are about to embark on town council vacancy interviews again. We did a very similar approach to advertising this vacancy when Councilman Troncone relocated. And we have 4 applicants this evening. We're going to do the interviews in public session. The plan was to do the public session meetings and then go into closed session. However, we do not have a quorum tonight, so what will happen is the council person that is not here tonight will review those interviews online. Next week, we will start our meeting with closed session so that you can hit the deadline and select your applicant. And then we will announce next Thursday night, September 11th, who the next town council vacancy will be, who will fill that vacancy. We'll go through the same procedure tonight. We've let the applicants draw their numbers. We have 4 tonight. We're going to take them downstairs. Once they've interviewed, they can stay and listen to the answers.
I do want to just make sure it's clear. We do have a quorum. You see 4 sitting up in here.
Yep.
But one of the applicants is the father of
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Hummel here. So we do have a
Yeah,
quorum. We
I'm
can
sorry about
count.
that.
I promise you we can count.
I apologize.
But Councilman Hummel has to recuse himself because former Councilman Hummel, I'm getting tongue tied here, is interviewing tonight. It's interviewing tonight. So I just want to let you know we do have it, but when we go in executive session, we will not, and mayor can't vote. So,
Very good.
all right.
Anything else? Okay, that's it, Mayor.
All right. So who is Rick in charge of?
Rick will shepherd them down. Mr. Hummel is first.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll turn it over to. Oh, it's already there. I'm sorry. He beat your fire.
I put it right on the desk. Yeah, I was gonna do that. I don't want to take too much time. But that's why, when he said that.
I was just gonna call her not Alyssa if I had to.
Saw before we sit down. Yeah.
It's open session. Anybody can be here. All right,
Hi.
So we're each question, sort of like the same setup as we did last time, except since we have one missing tonight, I'll be asking 2 questions. I won't ask them back to back. Anyway, I'll have the first question. and then We'll have something back to me. All right, you ready? Yes. Okay, first question, what do you believe is the role of a town council member, and how do you see yourself fulfilling that role?
Well, I'm at the risk of repeating myself, which I'm going to. Again, the town council members is there. There's more of us. The mayor can get spread thin between various things. The mayors do, and town council members. There's more of us. Most people, many people. I'm not going to say most anymore. Many people know at least one of the council members, if not 2 or 3. I'm sure, Ken, I don't know how many of your neighbors know you, and a good portion of them know me. And so it's more kind of not only the legislative piece of being on council and doing legislation, deciding on things like high-speed fiber optic internet, but also, getting out and about, saying things that might need looked into. I don't know if anybody sitting up there now remembers it. I'm sure Stacy and Joanne remember. A number of years ago, I would go out on Sunday morning and we had a rash of, I'm going to say young adults. I don't think anybody was ever caught that was ripping street signs off the posts and pulling out stop signs. And I would be out for a number of reasons at 6 or 7 o'clock Sunday morning. I'd load them in the back of my truck, take them up to my house, call Donnie or text Donnie, whatever, and say, hey, I got 7 street signs and 2 stop signs in my front yard I can pick up tomorrow. And, just I'm not going to say stupid stuff like that, but just stuff like that happens. Were I still on council, or if I was on council now, I would have mentioned probably a couple of months ago that maybe somebody needed to go out with either poison, which isn't allowed anymore, or a weed whacker to start knocking down the grass that was growing up in the streets. Because as you drive down streets, there's areas that had a pretty good crop. And now one of the, I guess, excuse me, summer public works people came out yesterday. I mean, things like that, things that not necessarily the mayor might not notice, but those of us in council will notice, yeah, you know, a loose railing on the boardwalk or whatever, or an issue there. And I said that, and plus kind of again, as a liaison between the residents and the town. Um, I think I know I mentioned it. You know, people still stop me at the post office and say, "What do you got?" Don't look at me. I've been out for like 6 years now. I have nothing to do with it. Well, something needs to be done. I said, go on the town's website and give one of them an email, or give them all an email and call. And that's part of just basically the liaison between the town government and the residents too.
Good evening, Randy.
Hi, Alan.
How are you?
I'm fine. You?
Glad to hear it. What skills or experiences from your professional or personal background will help you contribute to effective policy and budget decisions?
My first term on council started in 1986 or 87, so 40 years, I think 23 or 24 years as a town councilman. So when I first went on town council, which again was in 1986 or 87, it was an elective council seat. It was a actually filling in a vacancy after I think the member had moved after 6 or 7 months to go from a 2-story house to a 1-story house. He had MS or muscular dystrophy or something, had developed it and needed a 1-level house. So he moved out to one of the new ones that Kim Muller and George McCauley had built just outside of town, west of Greenwood. And when I got on council, my first task was to track down, assigned by then Mayor Hall, was to track down where we had a $250,000 deficit in the sewer account. At that time, there was no water, so it was a quarterly billing or a twice yearly billing for sewer, and everybody paid a flat rate. All the houses paid a flat rate, and then businesses paid an EDU equivalent. Turned out there were more than one person that had not paid a sewer bill since 1958, when the sewer system was put in. There was your $250,000 deficit. Russell said, "Randy, you've got to do something about this." Fine, why? And I did. So I guess that was a long-winded way of saying, when I first went on council, the town was declining, had been in decline for at least 10 years, if not longer. I mean, it depends on who you talk to, how long it had been in decline. But certainly since gambling had been made illegal in the 1970s, whenever that was in the 1970s. It was almost insolvent. We were laying off the public works people 2 days a week. They had a 3-day work week. We had an hour argument about having them supplying them rented uniforms, paying for their uniforms. So that was where I started with town council. And over the next several years, I declined to run for reelection for a third term in 1994, because quite honestly, I was afraid, not afraid, I did not want my name placed on a bankruptcy petition for the town, because I could see that coming. It did not happen. Things changed. I ran again in 2002. And as the time went on, we slowly clawed back to where the town is not insolvent, and is actually, although there are some burps that, again, my experience going back to then, can maybe see in the horizon if we aren't a little bit careful. So I've been involved from basically Skid Row to now. to the successful and financially, at least financially stable town that it's become and desirable town. Stacy knows, Joanne knows. Kids from North Beach are called beach trash by the school teachers. My oldest daughter, whose IQ is about 135, Mickey's older sister, was called beach trash by a guidance counselor at Northern High School. And was told that she should either look into waitressing as a career or possibly, if she was smart enough, maybe cosmetology. And, you know, okay, he and I had a very frank discussion a few days later. And Ken knows what words I use when I have a frank discussion. That was my daughter that graduated cum, whatever the highest cum laude is, with a 3.957 or something from University of Pennsylvania. There were people who wouldn't be caught dead in North Beach 40 years ago, 20 years ago, even to an extent, Chesapeake Beach, but not so much. So, you know, that's what I've seen, to where people, you know, oh my God, we got to go to North Beach. It's great. You wouldn't have come here in 2000, but, you know, so I mean, there is that with the experience too.
Thank you.
Okay, hello.
Hello, 5 minutes.
That's fine. What do you see as the top 2 or 3 priorities
Um,
in North Beach right now, and how would you address them?
Okay, they've changed a little bit in the last few months. And I'm not going to prioritize these as 1, 2, and 3 necessarily. Um, I, and this is my observation only, and I have to tell you, I have not dug into the budget, you know, putting line items together with expenses. But it seemed to me this year and last year too, that our beach use is down, that our revenues from the beach, even with the higher entrance fees, is down. And with beach use down, even with a higher use fee, the revenues will probably be down. The beach is a very, very high dollar costing adventure. You know, I realized the pier was just redecked. And my understanding is that came from COVID money or something, so it wasn't a bonded indebtedness. The boardwalk's good for another few years. It's just a little bit past halfway the projected lifespan of that from when we put it in about 2007 or 8. And there was a 30-year projected lifespan on the composite at that point. But you know, the beach is an expensive proposition, and it's not just the beach, it's everything that's loaded onto the beach. All the trash that is generated down there comes out of beach fees. You know, so it's not taken out of general property taxes. And, you know, and so basically, I think one of the things we have to do is, and I know this is anathema to people in town, but we probably have to kind of ramp up our tourism industry a little bit and get people in that will drop money into the town coffers. You know, it doesn't matter how, as I said, it doesn't matter how many meals Bill Sherman sells at Neptune's or they sell at Mexico, because we get none of that as sales tax. We don't charge for parking. That's somebody else would charge for that. So really our only two, excuse me, tourism directly from tourism revenue sources are VRBO, lodging fees, and the beach. Now, there are a couple other ones out there, and there may be one that's still in effect, and that's an amusement tax on gaming and pinball machines, which, you know, it's something to look at. I don't know if that's still in effect. It was a number of years ago. We had a very small arcade go into one of the buildings that was attached to the NIGA store, and the guy came, and his name escapes me. He's dead now. Alan Wilson. And he was really irate because he got a tax bill for his 12 pinball machines. And it was a matter of $50 or something. I mean, it wasn't outrageous. But you know, that was under the amusement tax authority. As I said with the last time, I think the town should be charging 1% parking tax. I think in Baltimore it's 18%. I think I saw. So 1% is not getting, not real greedy. But, you know, if our tourism, direct tourism dollars don't cover our tourism costs, maintenance of the beach, the farmers market, First Fridays, more and more money will have to come out of the general fund. And that was one of the reasons we started doing tourism and went heavy into tourism, in addition to being a whole lot of grant money out there 30 years ago to do tourism from the state, was to take some of the load off the property tax payers, so they wouldn't be financing beach cleanup, and which wasn't really done 30 years ago, to be honest with you. Oh, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. There were more. I'm sorry. I got a roll about tourism. Um, uh, I'm sorry.
There, as I was listening.
Well, okay. Well, I kind of combined one of the things I see, and this literally just came up last week. I was watching the planning and zoning meeting with the speakeasy that's going to go into Dale's old building, Ice and Fleazy, or if you prefer, the former patisserie building. And a big issue with that is going to be parking. The town will probably have to green curb Annapolis, probably green curb Atlantic, at least the whole length down past Greg's house. Simply because there is not parking there. Now, is there parking in town? Yeah, sort of. But we don't want people coming there and then going back 7th Street where the residents are. And the people doing that proposal do have to come up with a parking plan. And unfortunately, I don't really think the town has a parking plan that they can follow, an outline of what you need. And, you know, we did exempt businesses below a certain level a number of years ago from having to provide parking because most of them just couldn't. Django's couldn't, as an example, or the Cold Penguin couldn't, as an example. There was just no parking for them to provide. And so, you know, that is going to be, that will be an issue with that, and that will really impact that business. And we've played around with a parking plan for 20 or 25 years, and we've never pulled the trigger on it. Ken knows, I mean, Ken remembers, I mean, we talked parking plans every other meeting for years that we need to do something. We just never did anything. And part of the fallout is nobody wants to be the bad guy and say we have to enforce it and then actually do enforcing it. Because if we have a parking plan and it's enforced, there will be people, warning council members, that will come to your house and knock on your door and yell at you because they got a ticket because they were parked in their street, but not in there where they were supposed to be. Depending on how it's set up. And everybody in town wants their own cars in front of their own house. Even if they have 5 and live in a 25-foot lot, they want room in front of their 25-foot wide lot for their 5 cars. So, you know, those kind of are the 2 major issues I see right now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I should have. No, it's a chronic cough kind of thing. 50 years. Well, I'm not used to speaking anymore since I retired and since I got off council. So I just kind of sit around mute all the time. But yeah, 50 years of bad habits are catching up with me.
For many years.
What skills, and we, you know, I know you told us before, but so what skills, experiences, or perspectives do you have that would make you an asset to the council and the residents of Northeast?
I'm going to backtrack a little bit to the former answer. Just, you know, just my experience. When Mike called me after the last one, he said, please stay involved with your background. You just know too much, or some words to that effect. Now, he might have just been being nice, but you know, the reality is that I do have the background of some of it, the skills, some of his decision making, as I mentioned, that I'm, for one reason or another, what I've done, I've had to in my careers, if you want to call them that, I've had to be able to make decisions fairly quickly and take in a lot of information and winnow it out. What's good, what's bad. Okay, throw that out and then make the right decision, which I think overall I've been successful most of the time with that. So, I mean, that is kind of the shortest answer. I mean, again, I fall back on some of the skills is just the fact that, you know, well, thank you. Um, one of the things that annoyed me the most when I first got on council was they kept reinventing the wheel. I mean, the council members then and the mayor and some of the towns just kept reinventing the wheel. And I'm going, why are we doing this? This town over the Eastern Shore already does it. Let's call them, find out what they did. We don't have to hire somebody to do the research. I'll call the guy. I know him. So, some of that is a frustration. But as I said, I've always been able to really take into a lot of information in fairly quickly and come to a usually rational decision. All right. Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you for inviting me again. Well, okay. For the plastic elevator.
It's online, always online with them, coming up, they're on.
Find out when they come up.
Absolutely.
Good evening.
Good
Hi.
evening.
I'm Michelle Crosby.
I have 4 questions for you.
Okay.
Cheers. But I'll start off.
Okay.
Michelle, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What do you see as the role as a council member, and how do you see yourself fulfilling that role effectively?
Yeah, I think this is an excellent question because over my career, I've always worked in civil society, and there's always an executive director and then there's a board, and those dynamics can become very complicated and they're different in every situation. I think the role of the town council is to support the mayor and to provide oversight. And I also think that they are an extension of the voice of the people, so they should be available to hear opinions and to take action in coordination with the mayor.
Thank you. Alan? Just writing some notes, sorry. I was standing where you were about 3 months ago.
Mm.
Yeah, so thank you for expressing interest in this. Question I have, what skills or experiences from your professional or personal background will help you contribute to effective policy and budget decisions?
So, I've done a lot of different things in my life. I've worked for the UN, I've worked in academia, I've worked for the National Academy of Sciences, and in all of these cases, I've done research, policy, and advocacy. Part of that journey was as an evaluator. So I do my own business and I do evaluation studies for international organizations. And a lot of the evaluation process involves analyzing budgets. And I'm a huge fan of strategic planning. So I would treat a budget and long-term planning as strategic planning and making sure that it's in alignment with the priorities of the mayor and the council.
Thank you.
Good evening. So I have been involved in neighborhood issues a lot in the last year, and I live in Burnt Oaks. And I think that community is a very mixed community, and it represents a lot of the dynamics that are reflected at the town level. One of the things that I see is that we have a really a lot of aging assets. So that requires investments to kind of upgrade, our parking. People get real keyed up about parking. Upgrade our markers and our signage and things like that. It's a safety issue, first of all, because people can be in fire lanes and not even know it. But it's also about beautification. And so I think one of our number one strengths as a town is tourism. So, beautification is a priority. Obviously, flood mitigation, that's something that would keep me up at night. But also, I think, when you think of North Beach, you always think of the boardwalk. And I know that there are plans underway to reinvigorate the boardwalk and redo it. And, it's an epic kind of symbol. And it's also a symbol of sadness in some way, because as you walk down the boardwalk, you see all of the tragedy that has happened to those lives because of the opioid crisis. And I think in this remaking process, it would be a really awesome sort of taking a page from Chesapeake Beach and transforming that pain into a message of hope.
Thank you.
All right, I have the last question.
Mhm.
Okay, what skills, experiences, or perspectives do you have that would make you an asset to the council and residents in North Beach?
Well, I think anyone who knows me is that I'm a doer. And you'll probably, if I'm appointed, tell me to slow my roll. And I probably definitely won't. So I'll be on training wheels a bit in the first months. But I think that after I get my sea legs, then I'll really be a person that's a tasker and a collaborator. And I'll also add that I've always worked in a bipartisan environment in every single thing that I've done. And so while I do have perspectives, I also really value finding the middle way.
Well, thank you so much. Was that, you were finished?
Yep, I'm
assuming?
done.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank
coming
you
in
so much for the
tonight.
opportunity. I appreciate it.
No problem.
I've been through it.
Again.
I can't, I've been through it once. I don't want to go through it again. Well, 3 years ago, when you went through it, I went through it again, but it was online. You weren't
Oh
here.
my gosh,
That was online.
I remember this.
Yeah. Yeah, I went through that one, but online is very different than being in person in front of everyone.
For Paul. Oh, Mary.
This is Mary.
Yes. I think we.
I'll stand. I'll be on
Yes.
this. Okay, hello.
Justice.
Why am I too short?
Trying to hear all the good things you're gonna say.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
I'm Mary too.
Yes, you are.
Anyway, thank you for being here. We're going to ask you 4 questions tonight, and I'll be asking you 2. We'll just go right down the row and end on me. So if you're ready, I have the first question.
Okay.
Okay. What do you believe is the role of a town council member, and how do you see yourself fulfilling that role effectively?
Oh, wow, I've got a ton of things I could say. To let me get my water.
Oh, we have some for you right here on the, oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't like to
Ready.
drink out of plastic. A town council person has a responsibility to represent the people of the town. And in doing so, they should interact with the people of the town. They should listen to them, make themselves available when there are events, any opportunities. They should even knock on doors. And just when they go to the post office, greet the people, tell them who they are, listen to their concerns, to their what they like about the town, what they don't like about the town. They have a responsibility to make sure the beach is in good condition, the streets, the alleys, everything in the town is important. Every single thing in the town from boundary to boundary, and even the alleys, everything. And they should make sure that they address all those things and are concerned about those. What I would do when I was on I'm getting chatty here. When I was on the Public Safety Committee, I would actually drive through the town to make sure things were in good order, to look for any violations or any good things, and bring good things back and the things that I didn't think were so good. That's what a town council person should do. You should devote your time, your effort, when you have it, to making sure the town is operating, functioning in a beautiful way, in a way that keeps our property values up and makes it desirable. It's a desirable town now because people have worked hard. I know for the past 20 years, people have worked very hard, because when I moved here, it wasn't so nice, but it's a wonderful town now. Property values are up, and that's because of the effort of the town council. You're welcome.
Hey, Mary.
Hi, Alan, right?
Yes, Alan. I have one question. What skills or experiences from your professional or personal background will help you contribute to effective policy and budget decisions?
Oh my, I've been I call myself a misplaced accountant. I've been doing accounting work for so many years. I've done budgets, taxes, taxes for people in several states. I don't do anything professionally now. I did it for my own businesses. That's the reason I learned to be an accountant, because I really didn't like the tax people that I was dealing with. They cost me money. I saved me money.
And so I continued and I helped other people. I like helping people. I like interacting with people and doing good things for people. And so I help people to get their taxes in order and so on, get their credit rating in order. I do taxes now for just certain people, but I don't charge for it. I also do books for still do books for my son. And like I said, I did all the accounting work for my own businesses previously. So I continue it today, but I still am a misplaced accountant.
Thank you, Mary.
Hello, Ken.
Hello. What do you see as the top 2 or 3 priorities for North Beach right now, and how would you address them?
My goodness. I think everything is a priority. Like I said earlier, everything's important. I know the last time I interviewed, everybody was saying flooding. Well, okay, the flooding is very important, but that's only part of the town. It's also important to interact with the people, to mingle through the town and to see what other issues present themselves in the town. The top 3 issues, I think the businesses need to be addressed a little bit more. Maybe the parking is still an issue after all these years, but not nearly as bad as it used to be. Of course, I think the flooding is being taken care of. I have no idea what's being done because I haven't been active with the council. But I see it's getting better. I believe that we need to make sure that the beachfront doesn't go backward in that there are kids or somebody causing violence, or I think we have to keep an eye on that always. And because it's an invitation, any beach is an invitation for kids to hang out and get into trouble and so on. It's not their fault that there's not much to do around here, so they go to the beach and they do things. So I guess that would be my thoughts on it right now at this present moment. Okay, you're welcome.
Mary, I have the last question.
Okay.
What skills, experiences, or perspectives do you have that would make you an asset to the council and the residents in North Beach?
Well, I'm very skilled with people, with interacting with people. I greet people all the time when I go to the post office, say hello. I like to see people talking to each other, not just passing by like there's nobody there. I'm very outgoing. I have a lot of experience in my life. I've worn many hats. I've been a photographer, a writer, marketing. Gosh, I've done, and like I said, accounting. I've done a lot of things. So I know that I'm qualified. I just have to convince you people that I am.
Well, thank you so much for coming tonight.
You're
We
welcome.
Really appreciate you throwing your hat in the ring.
It's nice talking to you. Thank you, Mary, Alan, and Ken. So I guess I sit down now, right?
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, Paul. Welcome back.
Thanks so much. Good to be here. Thank you.
We have some water over there if you.
I'm good, but thank you very much.
Okay, maybe after. All right, we have 4 questions and I'll ask 2 and then we'll just go down the line.
What?
All right, thank you. What do you believe is the role of a town council member and how do you see yourself fulfilling that role effectively?
I think there's probably 2 roles of the town council, the public and the sort of the business end. So you got to be present, you've got to be available, you've got to be willing to talk and maybe talk less, listen a whole lot more. And then there's the hard stuff, the decision making. And the thing that really kind of brought me back was that the last round, I felt like there was both give and take. And North Beach has a positive feeling about it. And the one thing that I say attracts me to want to be part of that is it used to be not so long ago, we could count on federal and state budget money to be available and we do what we want. I feel like overall the environment has changed many different ways and many different reasons. And for me, I like to think about how we take the current environment and we plan for the future. And so that to me is you've got to be present, you've got to be the forward face, but then the hard work is when we get together in council session and we start asking the questions that maybe we didn't want to ask. We approach things that said the last 20 years we were able to do it this way, but those ways seem to have, they're still available, but they're just very different. So that's my answer to the role of the council member. It's there's a public and a private, and both are critically important.
Thank you. You ready?
Hi, Paul.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good. One question. What skills or experiences from your professional or personal background will help you contribute to effective policy and budget decisions?
Thank you. Whether successfully or not, I've been able to wear many hats in the last 30 plus years. I've worked in traditional retail management. I own my own business in another town. I ran a very, very successful restaurant, and then I opened my own. I was a small business owner, and that was slightly less successful than the one I was running for someone else, and it was great. So, but I definitely have a small business mindset. And where I think I was able to really prove that is my current employer, H&R Block. Obviously, everybody knows them, but I was able to develop, launch nationally and now internationally the small business program at H&R Block. That was something that Block was not known for, very much a individual tax return transactional type of piece. And now we've got a business that I've turned over my leadership of that because it's going to the next generation, but I took something that didn't exist and turned it into $800 million in revenue and great margins and such like that. So, when we talk about things that need to happen, I'm always probably going to approach it from a pro-business mindset. And I feel like the experience that I've been able to draw over the last few decades gives me the insight to ask the right questions. I know when to listen, and I probably know when to say, "Hold on, let's take a moment to consider it," or "This sounds really good. I propose we move on."
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Well, I probably said on my last visit, the flooding issue and making sure that we focus on infrastructure is the critical piece. And I'm going to put that as number 2. Number 1, I believe, is what I kind of led with, the looking at funding differently and support from our partners that we used to probably have more confidence on being able to move forward. So when you look at big budget issues and you look at 10-year plans and things of that nature, I think that at least from my approach, the big questions, the ones that maybe we haven't even posed, that to me is when we're in transition, when we're looking at things differently, that is the primary. And then I would still say infrastructure is number 2.
I have the last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what skills, experiences, or perspectives do you have that would make you an asset to the council and the residents in North Beach?
Well, I believe I listen well. And I don't necessarily fall into the background, but I'm not the first one to make a statement. I'm not the first one to kind of bring a point. So I make people feel comfortable. I make people feel welcome. And I really believe that building consensus is critical. And I usually find that the less I talk, that when I actually do talk, people pay attention because they're not sick of me yet. So I would say that it really is I want to get to solutions, and I want to get to solutions that we're not going to be ashamed of 5 years down the road. So I'm really contemplative, kind of just like contemplative, and I believe that the best way to move forward is that when everybody's nodding their head or the majority, before we make a decision.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much.
I think that's the end of our interviews. Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful.
We appreciate you coming. It's not the easiest thing to sit in front of us and do this, so, I appreciate you all coming out. I really do.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, council. Thank you for doing that. It's too frequent sometimes. So I want to thank everybody for plugging in. Obviously, all this is on our social media pages. You can get with Kevin, figure that one out. And if council doesn't have any other questions, can I get a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. I know we don't have, that's right. We don't have a quorum, but hey. I mean, we can call Mickey in real quick.